What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another midweek recap. We're going to go over the S&P 500 as well as Apple. So getting into it, the S&P did exactly what I said it would do on Sunday, which was that we started to pull back, right? So if you caught this move, it was an absolute monster move. This is Tuesday night now, and the S&P thus far this week has been down at one point about 3.25%. Currently it's about 2.7%. This was a monster move. I caught this move. I was short up here on Friday. I had puts rather, and yeah, it's been an absolute great start to the week. It did, however, hold this previous zone. We said as supports we thought 390, 391 would hold. And actually, if we pull up our handy dandy moving average envelope, it was a pretty clear short at the trend line above purple line for me. That's why I took it. I didn't expect to move like this. I was scaling out here at 400, but then I caught a day trade today from the move with SPX. It took once we broke lows, a little above lows, I took it short and I rode it all the way down here into the 393, so about a $6 move roughly on the S&P. I was trading the SPX on that, so that was a great trade. Now we are almost back here into the middle, which is about 389. I personally do expect us to find our footing somewhere in this area. But this is really a crucial spot. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know what's going to happen. The 6th and the 7th, I believe I said last week. If not, I said in Discord, the 6th and the 7th of December generally are the two of the most bearish days of the month. The 6th being today, Tuesday, the 7th being tomorrow, Wednesday. Now we've already had a pretty massive move down, so I don't know how much further down we're going to pull. However, if we zoom out slightly, we'll see that we were inside this rising wedge and it was a fake breakout, right? So fake breakouts a lot of times give juice for a further move to the downside. Now, I personally am not sure. I don't really have a bias as to which way this thing is going to go. From here, this is kind of the middle. I always say don't diddle in the middle. This is, in my opinion, about the middle at this point, right? You know, just a few bucks off of the middle line is to me the middle. So I'm not really sure from here what is going to happen. If 390 area can hold, then we could rally into the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, and maybe close up near 395, 400. And if that happens, a lot of people will have been trapped, and that'll probably propel us higher into the two most bullish weeks of the year, generally, which would be next week and the week after that, leading up into Christmas, the 2 weeks leading up into Christmas. And that would push us, in my opinion, probably into 315. But the selling has been pretty aggressive, as you can see here. We had, only 2 green candles, and they were both at the close. Other than that, and to me, that's just short covering, so I'm not really sure what to see there. But the main thing was here is that if you saw the video on Sunday, you were prepared for this and you hopefully caught this move, because this was a nice move. It was a pretty easy move to call, and it was a great start to the week here, now being Tuesday, sitting up pretty nicely. So let's move into Apple. This is the bellwether, and it's kind of just hanging in there. It's actually hung in there relatively well compared to everything else. There was some news that came out today. They are planning on releasing an Apple car. I don't know if that's verified or not, but they said they'd like to release one by 2026 with a $100,000 price tag. I can't verify that, so don't quote me on that. But they also did say that they were looking to move chip production into the United States, and I think that would be bullish if they were to move chip production into the United States for the stock. However, this is still one of the more expensive stocks. And another thing that people don't pay attention to, but that you should, a lot of people hold this name, right? Just like a lot of retail holds Tesla. And what has happened to Tesla? It's been absolutely crushed. A lot of retail, a lot of money also sits in Apple. Generally, historically, when this happens, when you get, one side of the trade basically being overloaded, the stock moves the opposite way. So that's really something to pay attention to. I'm watching this trend. This is my trend. If it were to break this 134, basically 134, 133.50 maybe. If it were to break this area with any sort of volume, it is going to go a lot lower. It's probably going to get down into 120 for sure. But it could even get into the 110s and maybe even $100. The prior COVID high, which every other stock has erased basically, right? We've talked about this many times, is all the way down here at $80. So Apple is one of those names that hasn't erased that. Google is another one of those names that has, well, I guess at this point it has erased that. So Google maybe is better. However, ads are slowing. There was some pretty bearish move out of Meta today. Basically, the EU is coming at them, not allowing them to use targeted ads anymore, practically without the consent of the user, which is fundamentally Meta's core business. So that is going to hurt the stock tremendously. Although, I mean, you look at this, I don't know how much worse it can get than that, right? But it can always get worse. So this is one that's actually probably going to be a good watch on the short side, to make probably new lows. So we'll watch for that. Watch if it breaks last week's lows, right, which are sitting at about, what is that, 108.38. If it were to break that, it pretty quickly would see sub 100. So that could be a pretty solid move, maybe in the 100 Ps for maybe a week or two out, maybe 2 weeks out. So that's what I'm seeing, guys. Back to S&P. Everyone's been showing this, but third, this is our fourth touch of the trend line. The past couple weeks had pretty weak volume. It's Tuesday, and the volume is already nearly double, if not more than double, last week's volume. So the sellers are coming in heavy. Other people might call this a head and shoulders, with this being a shoulder, this being a head, this being a shoulder. If that were to be the case, that would send us down back into here, 320s, 340s, which is ultimately where I expected the market to end up. If you go back and look at videos earlier on, that's about where I said I think this probably retraces all the way back to there. But that's, longer time frame. We're not as worried about that for now. We're just letting price guide us. And it was a failed breakout here, which means we did trap some bulls up here. So that could give extra juice for a move downward. But I do expect, in all honesty, this area, this gap, I expect us to find buyers in this area from 370 to 390. I expect people to start to want to buy, but with a grain of salt, right? I'm not going to get in there and start buying everything hand over fist. I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to be selective, and I'm going to buy off levels because this thing could get ugly quick. Okay, so me personally, if it gets back down to red, I'm going to start to get interested. But if it gets to green, green's all the way down here at 335. And we could get to green, right? We haven't quite yet this year, but anywhere below 350 starts to favor that side. But for now, we're rejecting trend, right? And I expect some consolidation maybe over the next day or two. And then from there, it's really anyone's guess as to what could happen. But it's a massive move thus far early in this week. We made great gains. We don't want to give them back. So we got to be patient and expect some consolidation. Thanks, guys, for watching this video. Please make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. As always, I'll be back with more videos.